Hi guys, it's Dakota. I hope everyone's doing well today. I did not do a video last week because it was the Christmas holiday and Yule holiday, and my store was actually open well, all week. It was open Monday through Friday, and we are typically closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. But we had received a lot of phone calls and a lot of messages and emails and stuff wanting to know if we were going to be open that week because some people had the week off, had family coming in, they wanted to see the store, and last minute shopping and the whole thing. So I talked it over with my staff, and we all decided that we would go ahead and be open, or else it would be a really short week, right? Because we only open Wednesday through Saturday. As it is, it's a short week. So that would have been really short. So we went ahead and opened on Monday and Tuesday, which was great. We had a good week. Thank you all for who came in and supported us. Um, but anyway, so I didn't do a video, and I actually wasn't going to do a video this week because I thought, well, the family's still here. We got New Year's. People are, pumping up for New Year's Eve and all of that. And so I decided I wasn't going to do a video either. Well, the week before Yule, I don't know, I started thinking about New Year's, like mainly thinking, please, please let 2022 be better than 2020 and 2021, right? I mean, I think we're just all so over all of this. And so I was kind of thinking about that, and I was like, I think I'm going to do something uh, for New Year's Eve. Now, I don't celebrate. I stay home. I'm the fuddy dud. I'm the one that, like puts the jammies on and just stays home and plays games on the computer or watches a movie or something like that. So I don't really go out. But I thought this New Year's, I kind of wanted to do something. I wanted to do some spell work to sort of, I don't know, just release the past year, the past 2 years, to be quite honest with you, just to release that. I'm going to talk about that coming up. So I just wanted to release that and, bring new, fresh in for 2022. And so I thought that's what I was going to do. And I was like, well, let me go ahead and I'll do a video because that way I can show you what the process that I'm going to be using, what I'm going to be doing, and and then maybe it might spark an idea in you, or you might hate it. I don't know. So I just thought I would go ahead and show that with you. Now, those of you who have watched my videos and you know me, I am not one that will just poof, hey, I want to do a spell and come up with something. I want to know a little bit of history. I want to know the roots and the foundation of what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So yeah, I did know why I wanted to do this. The reason why I wanted to do some sort of releasing thing is because really, there was a lot to release just in things that are going on with the world, just everything, environmentally, COVID, blah, just all the stuff. And I really think it's messing with people. I mean, people are just really, we're just exhausted, we're just very tired. And I don't think that people realize maybe how, out of character they are, and I want to use the word rude, but I hate to use that word, but really, I mean, some people just seem overly eager to let you know that they're in a really bad mood. Put it to you that way. And I'm no exception, I'm sure. But anyway, I just really wanted to get rid of that. So yeah, so I do understand that, but I wanted to know more about New Year's, like New Year's Eve, like why New Year's Eve? Because I'm a firm believer in, like, I hate New Year's resolutions, right? I think it is absurd. I and I don't mean this with any disrespect to anybody who does like it and likes to make a New Year's resolution. There's no disrespect to that. I'm just saying for me personally, um, Because what it has done for me in the past, and what I think it does for a lot of people, is it sets you up for failure. It's a setup for failure. That's how I see it, and that's how I have experienced it. Because let's say that here's like the biggest scenario. I'm gonna sign up for the gym the first of the year. I'm gonna start going to the gym the first of the year. I'm gonna lose weight the first of the year. I'm gonna stop smoking the first of the year. I'm gonna stop doing this. I'm gonna start doing that. It's a promise that you're making. And it's gonna start on the first, okay? That is great. And I think that the majority of people that make that resolution follow through with it. I think that they start on that day. But guess what? Here's my experience. I'm going to start eating healthier on the first of the year. But on, January 1st, here comes friends bringing cakes and bringing wine and bringing, let's sit around and play games, and here's chips and dips and here's all this stuff. And, you know, I mean, it's hard for me to say, well, because maybe I've got a weak mind. I don't know. But I mean, here's all the stuff. And so you catch yourself eating. That's okay, I'll start tomorrow. And then the next day. And then the next day. I had to work late. I'm exhausted. And the same with smoking, so I'm going to stop. So I don't smoke. So, but I'm gonna stop smoking on the first. My feeling is this: like, if you really want to stop smoking, if you really want to start your exercise routine, if you really want to do this or do that, like, do it then when you're thinking about it, when you're really motivated to do it. Because when you it's like an added pressure. I'm going to do this on the first, and then when it doesn't happen, you kind of like beat yourself up, where you feel bad. You might laugh about it and go, yeah, it was my resolution, but I couldn't keep up with it. But it is sort of a defeat. It's self-defeating. I mean, you kind of feel bad about it. Okay. So anyway, I just, I really, really try not to fall into the whole, okay, I'm going to do this resolution. However, doing this spell work is not really a resolution. I'm not resolving for this. I'm doing spell work as an assistant to and asking, calling the universal powers to assist me with this thing, right? Okay, this thing that I'm trying to do on New Year's Eve. All right, so. But before I could do that, I had to know about New Year's Eve. Like, what is it about New Year's Eve, and why January 1st? Like, what is the big deal, right? So I did a little bit of research. I did some resourcing and stuff like that. Now, I didn't go back, a million years ago, however many years ago. I didn't go back. I went back to the Roman period. All right. And so there might be some of you who have even earlier dates and more information than what I have here. So I'm just giving you the information that I researched and that I discovered that I really didn't know about January 1st. Okay. All right. So back in the Roman days, there was the Roman calendar was 10 months long, and there was only 304 days. And then some king, I have to look at my notes. Some king, I forget his name, I didn't write that down. He decided to add January and February to the calendar, and he called it Januarius and Februarius. And it was the vernal, New Year's is the vernal equinox, okay? So, but in 46 BC, Julius Caesar, he called it, he called it the Julian calendar, which is very much like the Gregorian calendar that we follow today. Similar, very much very much like it, more like it than the Roman calendar. Okay, let's put it to you that way. So, and he did so in honor or to honor the Roman god Janus. I have also heard it pronounced Janus across the pond. That's what I've heard. And he was, sorry, I only have the picture. My printer is not working. So he is he was a two-headed god. Hope you can see that. One face, not two-headed, two-faced. I'm sorry, not two-headed, two-faced god. One face looking forward and one face looking back. Okay. And so one face looking into the future and one face looking into what's happened, the past. So he was, and so he, and Janus, which is what I call him, or Janus. I call him, I guess I do call him Janus. He was the Roman god of new beginnings. And so, so January, the god of January, is one thing that I read about him. I kind of believe that to be true, but I don't have the exact facts on that. I read a couple of different resources on that, but it sounded more real to me than not, or truthful to me than not. And so, so he had January 1st in honor of the god Janus. And so that made a lot of sense to me. And so then that kind of, I said, all right, well then, instead of me just doing a releasing, I also want to do something moving forward, something to move forward, like not just, I want to release this and move forward with this. I mean, because if you're not moving forward with this and you're releasing this, it's kind of the same thing, right? So I wanted it to be just a little bit different. So among what I really liked about Janus is that one of the, so he is known as the god of gateways and the god of doors. So that being, you know, opening and moving through. So when I read that, I was like, whoa, that like really hit me, because as you know, I work with the goddess Hecate, and she's a goddess of the crossroads. So, and the crossroads are very important to me. I use the crossroads in a lot of different things, not just, you know, not just when I'm working with Hecate. I mean, crossroads, crossroads became very important to me in my craft, in my practice. It's a very liminal time for me, I think, is probably why it becomes, it's very liminal. So then when I thought about that, I was like, well, then so New Year's Eve, it is an extremely liminal time, because you know, we go from 2021 to 2022 at midnight, or you know, 12:01, or however you want to look at that. But midnight is that liminal time between night and day, or the end of and the beginning of. It's a very liminal time. And the other thing about Janus, if you noticed in that picture, he's holding a key. And so, you know, as does Hecate. And I was like, wow, you know, so that is the unlocking of the door, the unlocking of the gate, just the unlocking of those things that are binding us, so that we are able to move forward. So I really loved that. And okay, so So I came up with two different things, okay? Two different things. I'm just going to talk about one, and then I'm going to go over and show you the other. Now, this one, I'm thinking about doing it, okay? I'm thinking about doing it, so I'm just going to tell you about it. But I'm actually, the more I actually read about it and then did research on it and studied it, the more it started to evolve for me in a really magical way and a really powerful way. So, all right, you're going to do, and I do have to look at my notes because I have never done this before, but it's a 12-day intention. 12 different intentions, 12 different petitions, 12 different intentions. And I'm going to be using my tray. You know, I use this tray because when the wax melts on this, I have a little scraper. It just pops the wax right off. Very easy cleanup, fireproof, right? So I got this at like 50 cents, you know, 25 cents, 50 cents at a thrift store years ago. Talked about it. So I'm going to use that, all right? So you're going to need 12 candles, all right? 12 petitions, 12 or intentions, 12 candles. Each candle represents one of the months. So January, one for February, March, April, May, etc., right? And when you do your petitions, each petition will be for that particular month. So you write your petition for January, you're going to do your spell work for January and with just that petition. And as you know, I'm a firm believer also in you're not going to just, you know, do whatever spell you came up with and poof, okay, it's done. And now you can just walk away and not think about it anymore. You're still going to have to put the energy into that spell for that month. That will be entirely up to you. If you want to do it monthly, I mean, if you want to do it daily, weekly, you know, however you want to do it will be entirely up to you. So 12 intentions or petitions, I usually call them petitions, 12 petitions, one for each month. And you're going to want to keep it realistic, right? Keep it realistic. It's not like, oh, March, win the lottery. No, that's not realistic. That might be a hope and a dream, but it's not realistic, okay? So you want to try to keep these, especially for this, we're trying to keep this realistic. You can do lottery stuff later on, okay? All right. And then, like I said, you're going to add the spell work throughout the months. Okay, so now, through the spell work throughout the month. Okay, so now what was really interesting is a clock. There's 12 hours on a clock. All right? 12 hours on a clock. 12 months. There's 12 zodiacs. I started doing the whole 12 thing. 2 and 1 is 3. I work in threes. So it really, I started growing this work, okay? And my work is not exactly just all mine. I did pick and choose from a couple of resources and, you know, and some bloggers that I follow. So in January, we start with Aries. Aries is the, is new beginnings. Aries is at number 1 if you're using the 12 like a clock. So number 1, January would be Aries. New beginning. That is when you're going to plant the seeds. So I did read that, plant the seeds. Well, then I went, well, plant the seeds. All right. So on my intentions, on my petitions, you know, I may have 12, but the 12 might progress in an order. They might start to progress. If 1 is the seed, then 2 is the germination, and 3 might be the roots, So then I started thinking, about how even though we only have 8 Sabbats on our wheel, but how each Sabbat is a thing. Each Sabbat is a thing, right? So something happens on each Sabbath. So on this clock or on this wheel of 12, something happens. It's a progression on each one. What time is it? 1. What time is it? It's 2. Oh, only 2 more hours till I get off. It's a progression. So I really liked that. Um, now, what you can do is, and you can either use chime candles, or you can use tea lights, votives. It doesn't matter what kind of candle you use. I did like the idea that using a coin on the bottom of your candle. I have done this several times where you either drop, like usually I'll drop a bead or two of wax on the coin and set the candle on the coin. So the coin can be used as an offering, or if it's a prosperity thing, a wealth thing, then you could use it, then the coin could represent that as well. You could put your petitions underneath each one of those. You can use stones that correspond with each of, say, the zodiacs, or if you're into numerology and in the numbers. You can use a stone, place the stone next to it. Or if you don't want to use candles, just use the stones. I mean, there were so many things. There were so many things that you could do with this. I was, I'm like freaking out, and I really, really love it. And you could also, if you want, get a clock face or draw a clock face, print out a clock face, and use that if you want. All kinds of things that you can do. And you would start clockwise. Or would you? The clock does start at 1, and this is about progression. So in this particular case, it is about fulfilling. It's about progression. So if you're trying to release something and you're going to be, then you would want to go counterclockwise. I'm not sure if this would be the right tool for that. However, I haven't gone over that. I have not thought about that, to be quite honest with you. But I know that there would be a way to do it if you put your mind and your energy and your focus into it and figure it out. How could you do that if you wanted to go to release, to let go of that energy that's just kind of been binding you? And so then you would want to go in a counterclockwise position. So, yeah, so I haven't thought about that for this particular work, okay? And I'm pretty sure, not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that that is one of the things that I'm going to do for New Year's. And it'll be for the whole year, right? It's for the whole year. So, because January and then February and then so forth, okay? You don't do it all at once. You don't do it all at once. You do it each month. Okay. Now, what we're going to do today, though. Okay, this is what we're going to do today. All right. You're going to need something to represent air. So I'm going to use incense, and this is werewolf bites. I don't know if you can see that, if it's backwards or not. It's called werewolf bites. It smells good. Kind of smells like the vampire blood or whatever that is. It smells good. Someone gave it to me. Uh, it's a little sweeter than what I like. It just happened to be in here. I'm using it to show you. It isn't what I'm using, it's what I'm using to show you, just because it was in here in the witch cottage, so I'm going to show you that. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to have, you can have your sage, your palo santo, your resins, stick, cone, whatever smoke you're going to have. You definitely need that, okay? So then what you're going to do is we're going to light it. Going to light it. And I'm going to refer to my notes. Okay. Now, what I am going to do is I am going to, because of the spell work that I'm doing, and you will see, I am going to draw I'm going to draw 3 banishing pentagrams. 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 3 banishing, and the whole time I want you to be thinking about that banishing, what we're letting go of. 3 invoking. 1, 2, 3. And you would want to do this after your space is cleansed. And again, I'm just showing you we're not actually doing, the work right now. But you're going to want to make sure that your space is clean. You sage it or incense it, however you like to clean your room or your space. You want to make sure that your space is clean and sacred before you start doing your spell work, for sure. All right, so I'm going to draw my banishing and my invoking pentagrams. Okay, once I do that, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths, and as I take the breaths, I'm going to be thinking about what it is that I'm trying to release and what it is I'm trying to bring in. And I'm going to do this in this way. I am going to, when I take the breath in, I'm thinking about what it is that I'm trying to bring in. And when I exhale, what it is that I'm releasing, okay? So I'm going to do that. You're going to do that 3 times. Now, how do I know what I'm letting go of and what I'm bringing forth? It's because, let go. I have done a petition here and here, 2 sides. One is releasing, one is invoking, bringing forward. So I know what it is that I'm trying to release. So I'm going to just breathe in and bring forth those things and exhale those things that I'm trying to let go of. So I know because I already have my petition written out. Okay, and the air moves. That's you leaving your incense, your sage, whatever it is. Let it burn. Let that smoke carry it off. Okay, air moves your petition, moves your intention. It moves it into the universe. All right. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have our candles. Now, I am using, let me get my tray here. I'm using 2 candles, 2 chime candles. These are the 4-inch ones. I have chosen black for my banishing, for my removing, for letting go, and I've chosen yellow for to bring in. Now you can use orange if you want. Orange is a good color for bringing in. It's good for that creativity and energy and all of that. But I have chosen the things that aren't serving my highest good. They sort of like live in this, I consider it living in like this void, like this dark place. And when I started thinking about the god Janus, and how we're honoring him in, or they honored him for, the God of new beginnings, gateways, crossroads, however you like to word that. When I think about our wheel of the year and Yule, we are now in the light half of the year. So we have at Yule welcomed back the sun god. And so for me, using yellow sort of represented both that new beginnings, the god Janus, and the sun god, coming back. So that is these are the two colors that I chose to use. So the black being, being past, yellow being present, future, and out with the old and with the new, reflect on this past year, and what it is that you've been through that you are ready to, that you just don't want to bring forward bring with you into the new year, forward with you into the new year. I'm going to move that, it's right in my face. Okay, now what I am going to do with these is, of course, I'm going to carve into them. So I'm going to be right back. We'll talk about that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have carved in to each of the candles. The one that I'm using to release and let go, I started at the bottom and wrote up. I'm sending that out. I'm letting it go. Okay, I'm letting it go. So you want to start at the bottom and move up. You want to use sigils, use sigils. If you want to use abbreviations, whatever. It's your energy, so you want to be able to think about that while you're doing it. Then this one is the energy that I'm bringing forth. I'm bringing it in. This is what I want. So I start at the top of the candle and I write in, because as this melts down, it brings in. As this one burns away, it burns away. Okay, so those are my two. I've sealed the bottom. And by the way, this is what I use now to carve into my candles. I have several of these, and they're little witch's brooms. And I did get a couple. I've gotten a few of them over the years from friends and customers at Samhain, and they're really adorable. But a pin works really, really good for carving out your candles. It works really good. I can hold it really well. Remember, I used to use, I don't even know, I think whatever I did with it, I used to use like this little thing that somebody made for me, and it was real hard to hold on to. It was too small. You can buy these fun pins at like the dollar store. So, yeah, they work really, really well. Yeah, just carves it right in. Okay. All right, so now I have my candles inscribed as to my intentions, my petitions, right? All right. Then what I'm going to do is, as you know, I'm taking my road opener oil, and I am going to hold them together. And, well, no, I'm not. I'm going to hold my releasing, and I am going to, from the bottom up, including the wick, smearing it, including the bottom, with the oil. what I want. I'm bringing it down into me, including the wick, rubbing that oil down, including the bottom, into me. So what are we doing? We're dressing the candle. Okay, that's what we're doing. Woo, it smells good. All right, let's put that back on. It leaks. All right, then what I'm going to do is I have here red brick dust. And what the red brick dust for me is going to do, I'm pouring a little bit right into this bowl so that I can have it handy. Just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. Red brick dust. And what I'm going to use that for is to continue to dress my candle, but I'm actually using it for protection, and as I'm letting go, I don't want any of that back, so I'm adding a little bit of protection to it. And so I have my candle here, my dust is in my little bowl. Let me put you down. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. All right, so there's the brick dust and my candle. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking this candle, which is what I call a working candle. It's not used for any kind of spell work or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to melt this over my my metal plate. I don't want to melt it over the bowl. I'm just dropping some wax on here. And as I do that, just dropping some wax on here. This is one way. This is a really easy way to do this. There's other ways that you can do this. I just like to get it full of wax. Then I'm just taking the brick dust you can dress candles however you like to dress them. I've seen it done hundreds of ways. I do it several different ways. Sometimes when I'm just like in a hurry, like right now, I just do it that way. Just get enough wax on there to dress my candle. Okay. Put some on the bottom. Okay. All right. So that one's done. I'm just going to sit it in there. That one's done. All right. The next I'm going to do is I got, oh, there's a seed. All right, this is rose. I just went out front at the house and my cedar tree. I picked some cedar leaves and I picked some rosemary off of the rosemary bush. Not much, just a tiny little bowl full. And I'm going to do the same thing with my yellow candle. I'm going to light it. I know this video is getting long. It's all right. And I'm going to drop the wax. Oops, keep dropping it in the bowl. I didn't mean to do that. I'm doing it on my silver platter because if I drop it in the bowl, then it makes it really hard to get out, to clean it. So just dripping the wax all over this. Now this one's going to be a little bit harder because it's not powdery. So we'll see if it sticks, and if it doesn't, I'll show you what I'll do. I'm putting some pretty big globs so that it takes a minute for it to melt. Oh yeah, it won't stick at all. All right. No, it won't. Try something else. Be right back. Epic fail. Okay, I couldn't get it to stick to my candle. So what I'll do is I'll just put it at the base of the candle when I'm done. All right, so then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black candle, okay, and I'm going to put them together. So I have this string here. Now, this is not the string that you should use for this. You should use a natural, like remember how I use thread, etc. Because this is going to be quite flammable. So you want to make sure that you have these candles somewhere safe. So when this catches on fire, that maybe like put them in a cauldron or something. So all I'm doing is binding them together. I'm just going to tie it in a knot. I wouldn't be so worried if it was just a thread or, you know, hemp, something like that. But I don't know where mine is. So I just bound them together like that. I don't even have my scissors out here to cut this. Let me see if I can get it cut with my woo, that knife is sharp, sharp, sharp. Cut away from you. Oh yeah. All right. Well, there's still a string. Okay. So there I have them bound together. I bound them together because this is what I'm releasing, this is what I'm drawing in. And I want them to be together. I want to visualize what it is that I'm letting go, and I want to visualize that door being opened as this energy comes in. So as one is being released, it's opening doors for one to come in, if that makes sense. All right. I'm just going to put some wax down here on the tray to hold the candles. I'm going to make a nice little puddle. You can use a candle holder if you like. I prefer this, and I'm cheap. I am really cheap. Even though I have a metaphysical store, I'm really cheap. And one of the things that I do is I use it for my incense too. Is I use a votive holder, and I use a votive holder and put sand in it, and then stick my incense or my candles in there to hold it. So, all right, so that is done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to release first. I want to light the release first because that is what the door has to be open first in order for the new to come in. All right, so while that's going, the very last thing I'm going to do, or not the last thing, those are my two elements. Remember, we used air and now I'm using fire. Now I'm going to use water. There is water in my little chalice here. And I'm just going to, you can scry if you want. I don't have time for that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to visualize what it is that I want. And I'm going to take 3 sips of water. One is for releasing, one is for bringing in and reviving the old ways, and the third one will be for cleansing. So just 3 sips. And you can say words during this time. With this sip of water, I release all things that bind, which is why I have the binding there. Release energies that bind, whatever words you want to say, that, uh, binding energy that is not serving my highest good. I'm releasing that, la la la, whatever words. I'm going to take another sip. That now I'm going to say something like, this is for, I sip this water to bring forth those energies that only serve my highest good, whatever you want to say. And then the third sip would be, to just an overall cleansing to the new year, whatever. All right, so that is your water. The other thing that you can do is use floating candles and put those in water, in a bowl of water, if you want to do that as well. Same kind of thing. All right, so with my petition that I've written, normally I would put this on my candle and let it burn there, or put it underneath. You can bind it in with your candle. So like you can wrap it around your candles and then tie your string and bind it with there, and it'll catch on fire, and do it that way. But I'm going to use this quartz crystal. I chose this one because it has a small, I forget what these are called, this form, but it has a small crystal growing on it. And I'm going to see this small crystal as the energy that isn't, I don't know if you can see it, the energy that isn't serving my highest good as this, and then the bigger crystal as the energies that I'm trying to bring forth. I'm taking my petition and the things that I want to release. I'm going to make sure that the writing is on the outside, that it is on the outside, because I'm trying to release that. And then I'm just going to wrap it. I'm going to bind it and onto my crystal. And when that is done, then I'm going to use the element of earth, and I'm going to bury it. Okay. So there you go. So that is all of the elements being used. Air we used in the form of incense to sort of cleanse our space. Remember that smoke cleanses, removes, and air is what moves it. The air moves it. We went into our fire with a binding spell that will be broken. It will be burned away once it gets here. So we had the energies that don't serve our highest good, and then the energies that we want to bring in, which do serve our highest good. And once it gets down to this cord, it will burn apart, and at that point then the spell is done. And then just as an addition, when I found this piece of quartz, I was like, oh, I love that, because it's got the smaller little crystal. I think it's called, I don't know, it might be a twin, I'm not sure what it's called, but I just liked it that it was, had the smaller one, and I'm using that as the releasing, and the larger quartz, because it's larger, it's like it holds more power to me than just the small one. So wrote my petition on both sides of the paper, and then I bound it to the quartz, and I'm going to use the power of earth. So I will go outside, and over in my offering area, I will dig a hole, and I will bury it in earth, and let earth take care of that for me. So so that's it. Oh yeah, you're looking at my t-shirt. Cute, huh? Gemini. Yeah, so this was a really long video. My videos are getting longer and longer. I'm sorry, I just talk so much. All right, so that is it. This is my New Year's spell. And remember, this isn't exactly what I'm going to do. I am going to use this one. I can tell you that for sure. Not this particular one that I just did here with these pictures. I'm just putting that uh, cedar and rosemary around the base of that candle. Um, but it will be very, very similar. It'll be very much like this. In fact, this I am going to keep because the petition says exactly what I want. And my candles, I will do just a little bit different, maybe. Not sure. Maybe this will be my spell. Who knows? But I am going to give it some thought. I have a few more days about doing the 12 um, that I talked about, the 12 day. It's a 12-day intention, so you could do it in 12 days. That's what it was called. It was called 12-day intention spell or something like that. I tweaked it. Um, I don't know. I think if you do it in 12 days, then, and then you'll be done. And that's the only part that I didn't like. I'm going to do mine in 12 months as what the 12-month calendar wheel, whatever you like to call it, is about. And that way, each month, I will have one petition that I will be working on throughout the month. So that means you can do meditation, you can do other spell work to help with that intention, whatever you like. But it gives it time and it keeps you working on your stuff as opposed to just doing 12 days and then going, okay, I'm good for the year, yay. Yeah, you got to stay with it. Keep working at it. Okay, this is almost an hour. Wow. I am so sorry. Okay. Uh, anyway, I hope you liked it and Happy New Year and enjoy. Stay safe. Please don't be wild and crazy. And be wild and crazy, but just be safe. And there you go. All right. Bye, guys.